us. Come, baby.
You're like, eh, do I have to? All right, so are you from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Come, baby.
a couple days from Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Well, let me teach you just a few things about mesquite trees, because you know a lot of people here do have them in their yards or in their neighborhoods. And this is a Chilean mesquite, and there are other types of mesquite trees as well. But this is, and mesquite trees have been utilized by Native American people in particular for all sorts of different things, such as, you see this blackish material right here? See that where it looks like it's been burned right here in this crack? Well, that's the pitch of the tree. Native Americans will take some of the bark that has that pitch on it, boil that in water to produce paint. So if you see something like this that's painted rather than carved, the paint comes from the pitch of a mesquite tree. Then you have the sap. And this is sap in its dried form, but you know when sap first comes out of a tree, it's a little rubber ball. Native Americans here will utilize that as a chewing gum because it's got, mesquite has a sweetness to it.
Oh.
Then you have these pods. These pods have seeds in them that are so hard they can crack a tooth. But Native Americans would collect them and put them in a mortar and pestle, grind them up like she's doing, to form this flour. And you can see the flour here. And there's some flour here too.
Yeah.
But anyway, they would take some of this flour. We get only 7.5 inches of rain a year here on average. But they would take a little bit of that water and a bunch of this flour, form something like this with their hands, and then set it out to dry. Then when they went out for the day, hunting or foraging, whatever reason they'd be out in the desert for the day, they would take this with them. When they got hungry, they would take it out, find one of the plants here that has a little bit of liquid in it, many of them do. They could utilize that liquid to reconstitute this and eat it like an old-fashioned protein bar. Because mesquite flour, unlike other types of flour, is high in protein. Now,
So with all the mesquite trees, I'm surprised more people don't utilize them.
I don't think people are aware of the things you can do. I think people here even go out and buy the briquettes or the wood chips.
Okay, so mesquite are the beans when they're first out. You can actually eat them, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We'll go along Skunk Creek and just pick them off. But you only do it for like 2 weeks and they get hard.
Then they get hard, and from what I understand, cows and other animals will still eat them then.
They're good. I don't know if you ever tried them.
Yeah, like a little cinnamony, nutty kind of, yeah. Well, okay, so before the pods grow on these trees, the trees have these long strands of little yellow flowers in the spring. That attracts bees, and the bees make this honey. This is mesquite honey. It's got a distinct mesquite flavor to it, and they say if you're going to eat honey, it's better to eat it from a local source because it helps fight allergies. Now, you see that these pods, many of them have these holes in them?
Yeah.
Something like 70% of the pods of all mesquite trees have these holes in them, and this is what creates those holes. Bruchid beetles.
Those are beetles?
Yeah. That looks like gravel, but it's not. They're little beetles. And what they do is they have the choice of laying their eggs in any plant out here in the desert, but they choose to only do so in the pods of mesquite trees. But the holes, they lay their eggs as these long strands of little yellow flowers are converting into the pods, and the holes, thankfully, are from them crawling out. Because here's what we suggest. You know, you can go all over the country, including Minnesota, and get mesquite grilled food in restaurants. Or you can buy the wood chips or the briquettes and cook it yourself. That's all great. But for people who are here or Texas or anywhere there are a good amount of mesquite trees, what we suggest is this. You know, once these pods start to fall, you have to pick them up because your yard's going to look like that for the rest of the year. So anyway, when you pick them up, save maybe a garbage bag full of them, because here's what you can do. You take a handful, probably about the same amount that's in this container right here, soak them in a little bit of water so they won't catch fire, put them in a small piece of tin foil and wrap it up like a burrito. Poke a few holes in it to put it right into your grill. You get the same smokiness, the same flavoring, all the same benefits as the wood chips or the briquettes, but you don't have to cut down another tree or spend your money on the wood chips or the briquettes. And you had to do the work of picking these darn things up anyway, so you get something for your effort. Now, the last thing I'll tell you about mesquite is this. Yeah, it's a slice of a mesquite tree right here. And mesquite wood is very popular nowadays for everything from flooring to stairways. Even guitars are made from that wood because it's really hard, and I guess it's considered to be good looking.
It's beautiful.
But here's something that's unique, not just about mesquite, but all desert trees. You know, if you go anywhere else in the country, you can take a slice of a tree and tell its age by what? Counting the rings. Well, those rings are caused by growth, and the growth is caused by rainfall. Well, other places get enough rainfall so that the rings are clearly defined and, you know, easily differentiated, right? It's easy to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, here we have the two rainy seasons, winter and summer. And summer is our monsoon season, and it's almost always when we get most of our rainfall. Still only 7.5 inches. But if we get sufficient rainfall in both of those seasons, desert trees get 2 rings every 12 months or so. So to tell the age of a desert tree, you have to count up the number of rings and then divide by 2 in order to be somewhat accurate. Plus, again, if you're somewhere else, like I'm originally from Seattle, well, plenty of rainfall there. It's easy to go 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like that. Here, because we get such little rainfall, you almost need a magnifying glass or a microscope to count those number of rings. So I had a woman who came through here, and she said that her kids or her grandkids, I forget which, it didn't really matter, but they didn't know that French fries came from potatoes. Because you think about it, French fries are all cut identically, right? They look like identical, they're perfect. Then they're in a plastic bag in the frozen food section of a grocery store. So if you ask kids where they came from, they'll say Safeway, you know? But I get to sit here every Friday and say, everything that you see on this table and more came from this one kind of tree. There were no grocery stores. There were, you know, you wanted to eat, you had to find something. You wanted shelter, you had to, you know, find something.